Hey, you guys. So we are back again with a wonderful episode of Dynasty Queens. I'm your host, Pamela Nicole, and I have
Mia J.
Hey. Before we get started with today's episode, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Social Media Off. If you're out here trying to just maximize your social, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're an artist, singer, you name it, Social Media Blast Off has you covered. If you're wanting to get a little bit more information and save a little bit of money right here, you go ahead and scan this QR code right here for you and save 40% off. Go ahead and check out socialmediablastoff.net. Miss Nia, who do we have the pleasure of talking to today?
Well, you guys, back again. Welcome to the Dynasty House. We got Miss Chantele. Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you
to the Dynasty House.
Yes, thank you guys for having me today.
Yes. Miss Chantele, if you could be so kind to give the viewers a little bit of background on yourself, where you came from, and what's your claim to fame?
Well, my name is Chan'tele Rountree, and I'm originally from Silver Spring, Maryland, but I currently live in Lilburn, Georgia. I am a dancer by trade. My business is the Dream Center. It's a dance studio for ages 3 to 14. And so that's basically what I do is I just create youth dance programming through my business, the Dream Center.
Nice. So growing up, how did you find out you had like a fondness for dance? Was there like a person that inspired you? Did you just like to move as a kid? What happened there?
So that's a great question. My mom actually put me in dance class when I was 4 years old. She put me in a lot of activities, soccer. I mean, every kind of activity she put me in, but dance was one I just like immediately connected to. And throughout all the different activities, that's the one that I stuck with. And I've just literally been doing it nonstop since I was 4 years old. So just that one dance class when I was 4 years old was what sparked that interest in dance for me.
Wow. So she's a professional at this point, like she's grown and doing her thing. So Miss Chantele, I did notice you did say that you do teach adolescent. What made you go towards just adolescent teachings versus just teaching any age?
That's a good question. So basically dance is what kind of drove my whole life, even in education, even in high school. In college, I majored in drama with a concentration in dance. And from there, I was either going to pursue dance as a career for myself. But in my getting started with like jobs, I started teaching dance class to kids. And I started wondering how do I teach different kids in different ways? How do I teach, kids from different backgrounds? And it sparked me to want to become a teacher. And so I ended up going back to school and getting my master's in early childhood education. And from there, I did teach, first grade a little bit in the classroom, but dance still came back up to like the forefront. And so it was in that process where I realized that my gifts were really for dance in the classroom and dance for children. So it was just kind of like happened. I didn't really know that I was going to be teaching children. I thought I was just going to be dancing. But in that journey through education, that's where I realized that's what the gifts was really for.
Beautiful.
It's really fundamental, I think. Of course, education is important, but also giving kids an outlet at an early age for something creative that can spark their imagination and, really bring forth their talents. I think that's beautiful. Now, if you could tell us, what are some of the different dance styles that you are professionally trained in or some that you kind of freestyle? Because I'm not a professional dancer. So go ahead and give us, a little rundown.
Okay. So I am trained in ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, and lyrical. Along the way, I have done some other styles like African, swing dance. I do liturgical dance as well, but ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop, and lyrical are like those main foundational styles that I was trained in and I also have at my studio.
What's your ones that you're, trained in?
Can you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
What's your favorite method or style of dance?
Okay, my favorite. Ooh, this is hard. I want to say my favorite is tap dance. My favorite is tap dance. There's something about the music. There's something about creating rhythms. That's been my favorite one. Tap dance.
Awesome. That is awesome. As far as like teaching children, do you feel like the younger they are, do they generally kind of just soak up your direction at the early?
That's a really good question. So my favorite age to teach is the ages 3 to 5 years old. And I feel like a lot of times they don't give 3 to 5 year olds that much credit. You think they're just going to kind of play around in class, but like they end up really absorbing the most. Like they produce really good performances. I can, stick to repetition with them, and they do a really good job. They do need like a little more repetition. They, it's not that fancy. We just do the basics, but they really can produce a really good show. That's a great question. And it's just different. The different ages kind of produce a different thing. So 3 to 5 year olds are just excited to be in the room. They're just excited to like do this fun thing every day. And then as you get older, there's still that playfulness. But then when you get to that 10 and up, that's like a different place where you're finding yourself, where dance takes like a little bit more meaning for you as an outlet. So that's a good question.
So to continue with Pam's question, let's get a visual for the viewers. So you're starting off with like the kids that are preschool age. What is the good or technique to get them to learn about rhythm and movement that you start with the youngins? And then maybe if some kids come in when they're like approaching adolescent age, and then for the ones who are teenage, are there like different styles of how to teach them the basics of dance, or how does that come into play for age groups?
So the styles I feel like are universal. So the way it works at my studio is I have different like color programs. So the Lilac program is ages 3 to 5. In that class, we have ballet, tap, and a jazz hip hop combination class. Their classes are a little bit shorter than the older kids, but in there we still learn the main foundations of the styles of dance. But it's more playful. We play games, we sing songs. And I do kind of keep that repetition in class so they can know what to expect. But I still teach the fundamentals in there. For the purple program, that's the ages 6 to 8 years old. For that age, it's really more like getting deeper into those foundations, making sure like we're making more specific corrections for them when we're teaching them the skills. And then at the older age, just depending on if they're a newer dancer or if they've been dancing before, that's where we're really like kind of taking it to the next level and expanding on those foundations that we built in the younger ages to do those harder skills and just kind of help them find their own voice as a dancer at that age too.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
She said it's all about levels, Nia.
No, right?
So I'm curious. I've always wondered this. I have a lot of friends that do have little ones that are in dance class and everything. So right before like a dance recital, say, go ahead and just give the full like day. How does that go for a recital day for you?
Oh my goodness. So for me, recital day feels a little bit crazy, but it's definitely that buzz. The kids are so excited. You have the kids that are really nervous. They look like their absolute best. They got their hair did, they got their makeup on. Like it's like, that final moment. Everyone comes out to see it. It's just like this where just like the culmination of everything comes together. And so from that day, basically, we're behind the scenes getting everything ready, making sure we have the logistics set up, all the check-ins, all the places for the students to go. We're making sure everyone's here. We have all our volunteers in place. And then from there, once we get started, once we press play and start that first dance, it kind of rolls pretty good. But it's just like all the little tiny details, just making sure it's in place, ready for the show. But it's so exciting. It's so exciting to like see kids face their fears, face those nerves, and just present what they've been working on for the whole season at the final performance.
That's a lot.
Yes, it is. It's a lot. It is a lot, but it's amazing. Sure. It's always amazing.
I think that's really awesome. I mean, it really does take a lot of preparation, it sounds like, to get the kids, prepared and stuff for performance. What's a really significant performance, I guess, with each age group that comes to mind where you were like, wow, I'm a proud mama?
Wow, that's a good one. So I recently started a dance team with my dance studio last year, and we had a performance. It was not a recital, but it was like a performance as part of a concert where someone was releasing a song, and they had us perform as part of the song. And I just feel like that whole performance was like really, I mean, it just like it had me like it brought me to tears even at that performance. One, just watching the kids like listen to the music in the background and express themselves, like just free dancing. And it was kind of it was a concert for some gospel songs. So, of course, the atmosphere, God was in the room, but the kids just being able to like freely dance and express themselves to that music was one thing that was really powerful for me. But just like seeing them like really just execute all that we had worked on with the live music. I think that's really what it was. Live music. Usually we have the recorded song we've been practicing too, but this was a chance for them to perform with live band, live singers, and it was just like a really powerful moment and like one that I like really hold close to my heart. After
That sounds
experiencing
like passion. That is true passion. You said you shed
yeah,
tears for those babies. That is
yeah,
passion.
yes,
And
actually,
you breathing that into them and then seeing them execute, you were just like, oh man, this is what I do it for. What is a dance legend that you just really admire? And then what is their technique of dance as well?
yeah, that's a good question. Let me see. Dance legend. I want to say, I mean, of course, Debbie Allen, just kind of breaking down those barriers in the entertainment industry. I also want to say Misty Copeland. Misty Copeland to me stands out just like breaking down barriers that like it didn't even look like we were allowed to break down. And so that's like, standing alone in a place where everyone doesn't look like you, but you have come to be that person that like changes everything. So that, I mean, that's been really powerful. I'm actually sitting here and there's a vision board I have in front of me where there's a picture of her on it. I think just like being that groundbreaking person that goes forth to make the change. And she, of course, does ballet. I don't do ballet quite as fancy as she does, with the point shoes and everything. But just being that person that goes first is like that's really powerful to me. And watching Missy Copeland and the things that Debbie Allen has done in her dance journey.
I want to touch on both real quick. So me and Pam are both from Houston. So Debbie Allen is like royalty, she's a treasure. Her and her sisters, so of course, there wouldn't be all of those great choreographed. She did a lot for like television and Fame and all these different programs and Soul Train, all this kind of stuff. So definitely Debbie Allen. And for those who don't know, Misty Copeland was the first. Is it prima ballerina of African American descent? Is that the title?
I think so. For the American Ballet Theater, I believe it was.
Awesome.
Awesome.
We got to represent the Black y'all and dance. Okay, let them know one time.
Chan'tele, I love asking this question, like for you, since you teach and everything too, with children. You always hear stories about the teacher that like they inspire that one. There's one student that has just like scored to like all different types of heights. Do you have one of those students, and do you have one of those inspirational stories as like how they started and then where they took off?
That's a good question. So when you were asking that question, it made me think about like my teacher that did that for me, if that's okay for me to answer that way. I've had a few teachers where I feel like they really made a really huge impact on like where I am right now. One being I was in a performing arts program called Colors, and the director of the program was Mr. Cook, and he had a singing, acting, dancing, but I felt like there in that place I came out of my comfort zone so much where I was having to be in front and I was having to lead dance. I was having to choreograph dances, and that was a place I had never did that before. And I was like terrified, even dancing since I was 4 years old, getting to this place where I'm in high school and I'm terrified to do my own dance or lead the dancers. And so that was a really like pivotal time for me to grow as like a leader in dance. And then I just had another one. Also, I used to take dance classes at Broadway Dance Center. So I'm from Maryland, but sometimes I have family in New York. So if we ever went to New York, like around the holidays, my mom would sign me up for Broadway Dance Center, like intensives and workshops. And I remember having a teacher there, and he like really just, talked to us about being confident in the classroom. And I used to kind of like hide in the back, like so nobody can see me. I don't know if I got it. But from there, I started like standing in the front and standing near the teacher. And I was like, I got this. And I started like talking to myself and believing in myself. And that like made a huge difference for my confidence. And one of the things about my studio and just about me is that dance is what gave me the confidence to like be who I was supposed to be, for me to like realize all that I was capable of. So that is the same thing that I'm trying to impart in my students. I can't even like tell you about one student because it's just like, the biggest thing I can say, the big thing for me is that there's that place where kids get to where it's like, oh, dance, that's scary, or I can't do that, or I don't know how to do that, or I'm not confident enough, or I'm not good enough. And like getting kids to like go through that and get to the other side is like that's what I feel like I was created for. And so I've had a lot of experiences where I've, been able to take a kid from that, oh, no, I can't do this, or no, I'm not dancing, or whatever it is, and moving them past it to like this place where they're proud of themselves, where they believe in themselves, where they're speaking positively about themselves. And that is what dance gave me. So that's what I'm trying to impart on the next generation, that they can find their confidence, even if they don't become a dancer, but they can find their confidence even in just one experience with dance.
What are some of the tactics that you use to, I know you said your teachers implemented certain practices to help you realize who you were, literally like, oh, I can do this. What are some of the things you use, and do you change the method based on the age group?
Wow, that's a good question. So it's actually crazy. I'm actually kind of working on something to kind of like verbalize and like teach how I do this. I call it the breakthrough teacher method. Basically, it's just like identifying what the barriers are, and then like learning how to move, like recognize them and then move through them. So when they're 3 to 5 year olds, the barriers that we're dealing with are like they're scared to leave their mom. So it's just kind of getting down on their level, like making sure that we build some trust, building rapport. I do things in class that make them say their favorite color and say add a food to our ballerina sandwich. So that way it's just, we're building rapport, we're building trust. And that's what that age needs, just to be able to have a trusting adult, a trusting, safe place where they can, have fun. And then when you get a little bit older, you start dealing with fear. Is a big giant one. Embarrassment, lack of self-confidence. That's the one we're fighting a lot with the older kids. But being able to recognize what those look like. And sometimes they don't just look like, I'm so scared. Sometimes they look like an attitude. Sometimes they look like, I'm leaving. I don't want to do this. And being able to like reach deep down into whatever is going on and find out what are they really struggling with, and then how can I meet them there. So it's also like, I do things like making them face their fears, but I also kind of just keep it real with them. Like, I know what you're feeling. I help them realize that other people in the room may be feeling that same thing. I do a lot of things with affirmations, having kids say affirmations to themselves in the mirror, just helping them to move through. It's just like, it's like something about that, just getting stuck in that feeling when I'm so scared, and then I like don't fix it and I let you go home. And then you're staying in that feeling. So it's like just getting them to go through it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if they may cry a little bit, getting them through that feeling so they can get to the result on the other side without giving up.
And don't you also think that a little bit of jitters and a little bit of nerves are necessary and part of the preparation, and absolutely a part of making sure that your performance is clean and seamless, right? Don't you have to have a little bit of butterflies?
Yes, because I still get them after all these years. I still get butterflies. Yeah, I get butterflies when they're about to dance, and I'm not even the one dancing.
Right, I can imagine as a teacher, for sure.
Exactly. So Chantele, have you ever considered like starting your own workshop? What you're doing right now, and like the affirmations, everything that you're talking about, it just seems like that would be something that should be more widespread, in my opinion. Is that something that you have thought about doing for yourself is like starting your own workshop?
Yes, I've actually, like what I've been describing, the breakthrough teacher, I've just kind of started writing it down and finding a way to present it like in a course or like a training form. It's really just in the idea phase right now, but I am, working on building it so that I can then present it to school systems or other dance educators. So I am working on it. It's just not out there yet because I just figured out how to verbalize it, how to organize it so that somebody else could learn it and understand it. So that's something I'm definitely working on right now.
What are some of the things that that you want to talk to the viewers about that you've done, like one of your biggest dance accomplishments thus far?
So my dance studio is called the Dream Center, and one of the most amazing things about my dance journey is just how, like, my dreams came true. Like, my dream was to have a dance studio when I got older. I even used to joke about a name that I was going to call it when I was like in middle school. I was like, I'm going to have Chantele LLC. I was going to have Chantele Incorporated. That was what my dance studio was going to be called. And when I made my LLC, I called it Chan'tele LLC. And so it's like the dance studio was just like that big dream that came true. But everything that's happened in my life has literally been like an open door through dance. It just kept going. And so I, of course, danced all through elementary school, through college. I became a dance teacher. From there, I went back, became a first grade teacher only for a few years for them to make me the dance teacher. I was the first elementary school dance teacher for Gwinnett County Public Schools. And dance wasn't even a subject in elementary school yet. But because I was there, I was able to kind of establish it as a subject. And now I don't work in the school system anymore, but now I'm an instructional resource writer for the Georgia Department of Education. So I've written kindergarten and first grade dance curriculum for the Department of Education in Georgia. And right now I'm working on second grade. So it's just amazing to me how the doors are continuously opening, because the dance studio was like, oh, we did it, the dream, but it's still more doors through dance that are still opening right now. And so I think that's the most amazing thing, that it's always an opportunity. And I didn't have to like go astray from what I really was passionate about or what my gifts were. Dance always made room for me. Every time I just kept stepping forward, dance still had a door available for me. And so the biggest accomplishment would definitely be that the first elementary school dance teacher for Gwinnett County Public Schools.
That's really awesome. Really, really cool. Because I'm out here in Atlanta too. So that is really awesome. And you're doing something positive for children that if they didn't have that outlet, who knows, what other negative influence or stuff could play a role in their life. So the fact they have a solid foundation and they have Miss Chantele that they can count on, I'm here for it. Definitely here for it.
Is there any, for your older students, Chantele, do you help them as far as like they're wanting to pursue dance, like go to college and go, a little bit further with their dancing? Do you help support, like find like scholarships and programs and stuff like that nature for the older kids so they can just kind of get ahead?
That's a good question. So my studio is about 5-6 years old. So many of the students that go there are still kind of like in that elementary. I haven't had any kids that have like gone off to college, but kids that I have taught just as a dance teacher, I do have some of them that are pursuing dance professionally. I try to still stay in contact. I still support if they're having a fundraiser, if they're having a performance, I'll try to support. But that's something I'm growing to in the studio. I have started like student leadership to try to like grab a hold of those older students to kind of help lead them in their next direction. But right now, most of the students are like elementary, early, middle. And so we're kind of growing them up right now.
I think that's really cool as well. The fact that you created a whole new avenue or arena, in this area in the country, and it didn't exist in the elementary school system. So I think that's very commendable. We love it here at Dynasty Queens. We love some women that are actually making a difference in the world. So I must definitely give you your flowers for that, because I don't feel enough people, maybe in the dance community, they're not really put center stage unless you're one of the big, celebrity acts that do the singing and the dance. But we do need to give our dance instructors and the people that really are paving the way, because it seems like you're definitely paving the way. And with what Pam was saying, I know, because you're still a young woman, another 25 or 30 years, you're going to have some students that are going to be like doing huge things, and they're going to come back, to that school that you have, and they're going to be like, Miss Chantele was the one.
Right.
You're planting the seed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Just, like I said, like I've had girls that they've come out here. I'm in Vegas, so we have conventions on the Strip for dancers and everything of that nature, and just to see what as a teacher what you're doing for kids. Seeing any dance teacher, really, any female dance teachers, y'all are just doing a phenomenal job with these young girls and just promoting so much self-worth, self-love into these little bodies that, they may have not ever gotten, So you're doing a great thing, Chantele.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. So what is another talent that you have that can kind of coincide with dance? Are you musically inclined in any way? Are you just a dancer at heart?
Well, I can sing a little bit. I don't really do it like in front of anybody, but I have when I was younger. So singing, and I've always wanted to play the drums. I've gotten like a few experiences, but I think that has to do with the tap dancing, just rhythm.
Oh yeah, the rhythm, yeah.
Yeah, so
Chantele, I have a really deep thought question for you, and I want you to really think really hard about this one. As a dancer, what song comes to mind that moved you so much in your entire dance career? And
a song. So I don't know if I have a song, but I do have like a dance. I had a dance experience that is like kind of like what you're saying, that like I took a class one time at Broadway Dance Center. I'm trying to remember what the teacher's name was. I think her name was Emily Greenwell or something like that. And it was like maybe a contemporary class, and it had so many people in it. We were like packed in there to the brim. And at Broadway Dance Center, you have people that take class like from all over the country, speak different languages, Russia, Japan, China, and I remember leaving that class and just like almost crying, because it was like how dance was so universal in there. The song we danced to was oh my goodness, it was like I think it's called "Lay Me Down" by, I want to say Sam Smith. Yes, and that was the song we danced to. And just seeing everybody like dancing to this song and like on one accord from all over wherever you came from in this one class, that was like a really like wow moment for me as a dancer.
That's awesome.
That is so amazing. Like the fact that you have all of these really cool stories and stuff that most of us are just like, okay, that's really awesome. So if you were able to get an opportunity to meet Debbie Allen, what would that conversation be like?
Oh my goodness, I'd be so excited. I met her one time. I did an audition and she was there.
How was that? Tell us about it.
I was like in college. I think I went to Spelman College. I was in college, and there was an audition, and I went to the audition, and it was like, you did the dancing part, and then there was like a part where she was trying to see who could sing. So she was like going around and telling people, okay, sing. And they were like, well, she's like, if you don't know a song, you sing Happy Birthday. And it was just really exciting just to be in her presence. I probably would just have like a lot of questions about like, what is her advice for dancers trying to pave their way to be change agents or groundbreaking in the dance industry. That's what I would want to know from her. And I would just love to dance with her. I would just love for her to teach me dance. That's what I would love, to be in her class.
Right, for sure.
And I honestly feel like, since y'all both teach each other a little something. She has her amazing style, you have amazing style. Yeah, just like collab and just make a beautiful situation.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
All right. So, Miss Chantele, I have a personal question.
Okay.
When you're not dancing, when you're not teaching, what are your other hobbies? What do you like to do?
Okay, so I love live music. So I would love to, be listening to live music. I love like reading. I love learning things. So like reading books. I love like doing professional developments that just teach me about something I want to know. Sometimes it is business related, but sometimes it's personal things. So I'm just always learning. I love traveling. Definitely love traveling. My family is Caribbean, so I always love anything that's soca music, Caribbean vibes. That's some of my favorite things too. What else? That's the main things. Those are the main things I like.
What is a method of dance that you are not fond of, or you haven't even really tried? If there is one.
So, ballet. I'm not the fondest of ballet because it's very structured and serious. And even as a kid, like I was like the one that was talking in there. I had the wrong clothes on. So I would say ballet is like the hardest. It's hard, and then also for like the students, it's not like the funnest one either. So it's hard to like really do it in the best way, but also still like engage the students in a way that makes them want to still do it. Because that's the hard thing. Kids always want to pick hip hop because it's more fun. But ballet is foundational, but it's hard. So I would say ballet. I'm trying to
I imagine with ballet, you learn like the balancing and stuff like that, but don't they have like wooden blocks in the shoes and there's a little bit of pain involved?
Yeah, with point shoes. So yes. Yeah. So at our studio, we're still, we haven't gotten to that level yet because we have the younger ones. But it's just like the structures, like this, you have to be pulled up all the way. You have to be standing in the right position. There's no like room for anything extra in ballet. You have to really be on top of each skill. And so it's just very serious. It's just a very serious type of class. But I do recognize its importance, even though it's not my favorite one. One that I would like to learn, some like salsa, merengue, bachata. Like I would like to learn more about those styles, just like socially for myself. That'd be really cool.
Okay. And those take as well as like doing like bachata and stuff. It takes like just movement. You have to be just
try it
into your body, into your the rhythm of everything because of how fast and everything goes. You got it, girl.
She's like, look, I'm trying to go to that Latin bar and show them a thing or two.
Yes, exactly. I want to go dance for me. Right. I need to dance for me sometimes. So, yes.
Okay. So, if me and Pam, we come to your studio, what do you teach us first, girl? Like, we're like beginners, you know what I'm saying? So, what are you going to school us on? How are you going to get us to doing the techniques and all that good stuff?
Okay, so I'm thinking if you two came to the studio, I want to do jazz dance. And so I probably would start out trying to like kind of see where you're at. I would probably do a little across the floor and have you do like a jazz walk, kind of see what your attitude is like, what, how confident you are, dancing. That's probably what I would start with. And just like the basics, how to hold yourself up. What are the main positions that your feet should be standing in? I always like to give everyone who's, no matter what, a little bit of basics before we get into anything difficult. Definitely foundational teacher. But I do like to see, what am I working with? Who am I working with? How are they feeling? What do they have already? What's their style? Even 3 to 5-year-olds have their own little style already. So that's what I would do. And then I would definitely probably, maybe a little sexy jazz, so we can really like let out our feminine power, in class. I would definitely do that.
She's reading my mind with I do pull, so I
Okay.
the right hand. So yes. Oh man. Chan'tele, I'm curious actually with when you're teaching the children and everything, do you feel like you have more of a higher ratio of girls to boys?
I almost always have girls at the studio. I've had a few boys throughout the years. Right now we have a boy in hip hop. That's typically the class that ends up having boys in it. So I'll say at the dance studio, it is typically mostly girls, but boys are always welcome. It's just kind of hard to get them to do it when there's not a whole bunch of them. And when I danced at the school system, I taught everybody, girls and boys. So that was like a really cool experience because it's not that the boys always wanted to dance, but they all had a chance to experience dance. And I also have a elementary after school dance program at a local school around the corner from our studio. And that older kid program actually has about 4 boys in it that joined. So it just depends on the atmosphere. I think the dance studio is purple. It kind of looks girly, so it may be a deterrent sometimes from boys coming. But at school, there's definitely a lot more boy interest, when dance is happening at their school already.
Gotcha.
That was a really good question, Pam. I really like that question because, I guess what can we do to get more young men to be comfortable enough to, pursue dance? Because back in the day, you had with the tap, you had Gregory Hines, Savion, a couple of them. But what can we do to kind of encourage boys that, hey, sports are great, but you can also, bring some masculinity or whatever to dance?
I think it's definitely creating a place for them because, when they're just trying to join a class that already has a bunch of girls in it, that's a difficult way to, to retain them. So I think it's going to be more so like, creating something that's for them, creating a tap class just for boys, creating a hip hop class just for boys. I've even seen some studios lately, marketing like dance for boys for baseball or something like that, like where you can learn balance and coordination for your other sports. And it's like it's like a class specifically for boys that play baseball, where they can come and learn certain things to help them with their balance and their coordination, their skills. So I think it's just creating a place that's for them. I think that's the key.
Gotcha. I did answer that question as well. I do follow people accounts on social. If they have extra special needs, people like are in wheelchairs and they're doing dance, like contemporary dance, and they're doing all these beautiful movements. Do you either if you're at the school or at your dance studio, do you also accompany these children that are trying to just help with their like physicality and momentum and just getting them to have more strength?
Yeah, so at my studio, I don't have a specific special needs class, but I have had students that may have autism or have some different kind of like disabilities where they need kind of some modifications with dance that I've worked with. In the school program that I have right now, there is a student that's level 3 autism. And so basically he's in the same class with all the other students, but I just try to kind of work with him and modify as needed to allow him to still be successful in class. So I have worked with special needs students mostly at school because they would still come to my specials classes when I was a teacher. And then now at this new school, it seems like I always have, a few students where I do have that. It's making me think it's worth it probably to even start a class just for that.
For sure.
Definitely.
Because it just helps with their, it really helps with them as far as like building, confidence building. And, with like mobility and just, everything with like their milestones that they may not reach, it would definitely help with that. So I think that's something in the works for you, Miss Ma'am.
And especially like, if that dance is their thing already. So like when parents were kind of really like to dance, even though it may be a little harder for them, but I love the challenge of, trying to learn more about it and help them. So I definitely agree.
I love that.
How realistic is the whole Dancing with the Stars setup? The way that they, throw people in there and they have them learn all these different techniques and routines. How practical is it for the average person that's learning, and getting their foot into the door? And what are the amount of hours that these people are having to do to be able to perform on live television? I mean, that's a lot of pressure, right?
I think it's realistic for like the dance industry life. If you're a professional dancer, you're trying to get booked for a job, sometimes it's that fast. Definitely a lot of hours. If I had 8 hours with a group of kids, there's a whole lot of stuff that I could produce in a day. So I think, if they are getting paired with a person and they're having choreography for the whole day, it's definitely possible. I think that's like the fun part of dance, where you really like, you go all in, like you really go all in. So I think it is realistic. It's definitely difficult to get it right and tight that quickly and that fast, especially if you didn't have dance training. But that's part of the dance industry. So.
You know what I've realized though? Like a lot of people that win or they do really well, they didn't have any type of dance background. But if you think about it, some of them kind of did. Like there was a figure skater, his name was Paulo. He won Dancing with the Stars. But if you think about it, figure skating, I'm sure it incorporates a lot of the same balance and learning posture and position and form. I don't know all the technical terms. I think I'm saying some of them. And then you had like Layla Ali won. She's a boxer. So people from different outlets of life, do everything on Dancing with the Stars. Now, my second part of that question, what is recovery like? And what is the medium ground? Like, okay, so the kids can perform for this amount of time and okay, anything else, it's going to stress their muscles out. What is like some coping tactics and stuff to help with, soreness, if you're getting started with dance, so on and so forth?
Definitely warming up and stretching and like remembering to cool down. Those are big things. A lot of times, especially kids, they want to like go ahead and bust out in the split and the kicks. And it's like, no, you got to warm up first. You got to stretch first before you do those things. And then, after you're done, you definitely still want to stretch. And also, I think a big thing with dance and recovery is like that is sometimes you can't just wait till a dance class to do these things. Like if we're working on a stretch or we're working on something, you got to work on it at home too. And that's going to help, because if you only do it at dance class, then, you're not building that strength or building that foundation in whatever muscles that we're working. So I think that's a big part of it, is like not just like at home dancing, doing all these things full out, but like stretching and maintaining that like warming up and warmness routine, cooling down when you're done. Those are things that should be done like on a consistent basis. So definitely stretching, warming up, also like refueling your body. Make sure you have water, making sure you've had a proper meal before and after dancing, making sure that you have the right energy for class so that you're not wearing yourself out.
Right. And do you recommend eating before a performance?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. A lot of people have different views on that one. I'm kind of like the person, I always want to like have started my day with a meal, but it also just depends on what the meal is, what time is it. You don't want to have anything that's too heavy, of course, right before you dance. You don't want to get sick. But definitely like some water, some fruit, something to have to learn nourishment before you dance. I've had times when I was so nervous, I just couldn't eat anything. But most of the time I stand by having something before I go out, so I have enough energy to do what I need to do.
Right. That's smart.
What would you tell a little girl coming up that, say she's like 8 or 9, and you could tell she wants to do dance, but she's too afraid to? What advice would you give her?
I would give her advice to try it. At my studio, we offer trial classes. So if anyone is even kind of interested, you have the opportunity to come try a class for free, any style you want. And that way, at least you can see, what is this like? Do I like it before you commit? So I definitely believe in trying it, finding even any opportunity that you can to do it, whether if it's not the dance studio, if it's an opportunity at school to be in a program or be in a show or be in a performance, just to try it.
Beautiful. And I love that you have that aspect. Well, you can let them try the, activities, try whatever it is. A lot of people, they don't offer that, and it's just kind of like discouraging in a sense. So thank you for also mentioning that. So if you're in the Georgia area, you want to put your little girl in, if she wants to go.
Yes.
Have you had like any really bad injuries as a result of all the years of, just being in the industry? And if so, tell us about, any injuries you had.
So the time I had the most injuries was probably when I was in high school. I was on the track team my senior year of high school and also dancing, and those two things combined was just, my body was not happy with it. So I've had, like sprained ankles, shin splints, plantar fasciitis. Like I've had, things with my like lower legs and feet muscles. I didn't break any bones or anything like that in my legs. I had broke my thumb one time, but mostly just like those lower leg, ankle sprains, things like that. That's been like the main injuries that I had, but it was also because I was trying to run track and do dance at the same time.
Yeah, it's taking on a lot.
So also, Chan'tele, where can our viewers find you on socials, and how do they contact your dance studio if their kids are interested?
Okay, so you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at Dream Center Dance, DreamCenterdance. Our website is www.thedreamcenterdance.com. And that's where you can find out kind of what we're up to. We've been, posting about things that are happening in the studio on social media. You can also give us a call. Our phone number is 404-590-3559. We would love to have you. We're actually having a trunk or treat event next week on October 28th, just for the community to come out and celebrate Halloween together. Our dance team is performing. We're going to have, music, fun, and family fun. So yeah, and we definitely offer free trial classes if you want to try a class. And you can learn more if you visit our website.
Fantastic.
You guys heard the exclusive. Chan'tele is dropping the number to contact the studio directly. She's like, we're ready for you guys. Come on. We're ready.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna open them creative juices and get you fluid, okay? We're gonna get the job done. So I love it. I just think that everything you represent is just so positive for our youth. And really motivating the kids to, pick up something that is either a natural gift or something that can be learned, appreciated, celebrated forever and years to come. Dance is universal for real. So
yes.
I just, we can't do anything but congratulate you for the good work that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Pam, I'm going to let you close it out.
Absolutely, honey. Y'all heard it first. So, we always like to bring beautiful, positive women to the stage and let them know, let everybody know what they're doing and, pass on the positivity to people as well. So in closing, we just want to go ahead and thank you once again.
Yes, thank you.
Closing, of course. I do have my beautiful best friend also right here.
Mia J. And before we go, guys, make sure that you not only watch this episode, make sure you subscribe to the channel, you like and comment. We want to interact with you. We also want Chantele to interact in the comments too. Any questions you have for her about joining the studio, let's make this interactive, you know?
Absolutely. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can keep up with weekly episodes, guys. And until next time, this is Dynasty Queens. See you.